Just checking the audio, see how that works. Taking some sort of very standard images at the moment. So I'm not a huge fan of the artificial click or sound that it makes, but that's neither here nor there. Ergonomics of the hand, if you've got long fingers, it's a bit weird to grasp onto, but you can. I like the slow-mo that it's got, 100 frames a second, which when you move the auto systems on this work really well. So like, I've got this on aperture value at the moment, no shutter priority in terms of video. So it stays at like the 25 to 50 mark, and then the aperture's cycling through the light base on my face. Tracking works well, only drops off a few times. The ergonomics aren't great. The slow-mo from what I can see on the monitor worked nicely, but I haven't actually put it on the computer to faff about with yet. It is weird just walking around talking to a camera. You get really sort of self-conscious when you see someone in the distance or coming past or hear them, because you look a bit weird, but it's all part of the fun. What do I think this camera is made for? I definitely feel it's a much more vlogging camera with a flip out screen and things than it is a overall like work camera. In saying that though, I think the video quality on this is really good. It's really easy to use and a fun little bit of kit. It's definitely going to be my main video camera from now on, so that I can use the 7D for actually taking shots of work and the GoPros for making. The only time I'd use this particular camera, the only time I'd use this particularly for shooting photographs, I think is going to be when I get round to getting the housing and it's going to go in the water, as it's lighter and easier to use than the 7. And I feel with its slow-mo sort of frame rate setting, that could be quite good for sports video as well as the water itself, allowing that to slow down and capture things. As for doing talking to camera bits and things like that, I think this is going to be one I'll use for those things and for set up video shots, and the 7D as my working camera. It takes nice images, and when I go to like birthday parties and seeing friends and things, I'll probably consider this as more, as I said in the last video, this is probably going to be more for just when I go out on silly little walks, just to get some exercise, or when I do things that I want to record for myself, and use the 7D for more work-related images. Camera's quite good. The lens isn't the sharpest in the world. It's not taken like the razor sharp list of images, but it is their sort of standard package lens. Battery held up really well. I thought it would go flat after a short period of time, but it held up nicely. Screen's nice and bright. Menu system, or settings, is pretty much the same as it is on the bigger bodies. There's a different set of buttons and a different set of controls, but overall it works the same. I do like that if you're shooting photos for your phone deliberately, you can hold it that way, and the monitor is, in terms of frame size, the same as. Most of the time I'm going to have it folded in unless I'm videoing myself, because all the control numbers and f-stops and shutter speed is in the viewfinder, the electronic viewfinder. It's a bit weird just looking at a very tiny screen, but hey ho. I'd relate it very much, although it's got nice features, if you were comparing it to a DSLR, which there's not really much point, because other than taking photos, they're not the same sort of weight, body, build, design. They're just cameras. So from a practical point of view, this is no better, no worse than this or a 5D or a 1DX, because the purpose of it is exactly the same. It's like comparing hammers. In terms of where I draw a line to it, I'd say it's like the 100 or 200 or is it 400 now D camera body for a DSLR. I really like the lightweight of it. The ergonomics, as I say, if you look at my hand in comparison to grip, it's just hanging off the edge. There's a very clear gap there. Yeah, overall it's a nice bit of kit. I'm not disappointed that I didn't go for the Lumix, because I feel that that's going to be the same body as this and the same sort of weight and components. It might have had 25 more FPS in video, which is nice but not integral. It's not the be all and end all, I don't need it massively. We're now in like we're going into the second week of October 2020 and the weather is looking, I wouldn't say frightful, but just wet and gloomy, not particularly fun. Shouldn't let that deter you from going out and taking photos, as long as you've got the right kit on, regardless of what the weather is. You know, if you've got a nice coat on, a nice few layers on, the weather shouldn't make too much of a difference to your day. But the stuff I'm interested in has all been put on hold. I haven't been able to get down to Broadstairs to plan or look at photos, or not even just Broadstairs, just down to the coast because of work starting back and that. That's a reason, bit of an excuse. I need to work on a way to actually get there and get what I'm doing down. I've got half term coming up, so that's the camera switched over. This is the 7D I've been using for all the videos and that so far. And after using the M50 now for a few days, you can definitely feel the difference in terms of just weight. The ergonomics is better. Holding it is so much, no, it fits my hand better and that, but it's definitely a considerable weight larger than the M50. I've really enjoyed shooting on this little thing, and now that I can see myself and I can talk to the camera and see what it's actually looking in relatively like close proximity. The lens is here, the monitor's just there, and even just glancing at it, it's easier to do than attaching it from the 7D to the laptop or to a monitor. Having it just side on is better. I need to attach the mic and see how that comes across sound wise. I put the bins out and walked the dogs earlier. My hair's now just all matted. I mean, my hair's always a mess. It's never the neatest, but hey ho, off we go. So let's make some plans.